is involved, you won't be as decent while someone's attempting to dupe you. It seems like Kevin Tracker is so worried about the monetary prosperity of his new family that he is prepared to cross any line to accommodate Serena Hudson and their little girl excursion, regardless of whether it implies completing his debilitated ex, Wendy Williams, who actually stays in basic condition. As per the Sun's new assertions, in the new stunning new development, it has been uncovered that Kevin Sr. is sitting tight for his ex's destruction on the grounds that for this situation, he can get her life coverage, that he accepts he merits. Greetings everybody, and welcome back to Celeb Live channel. So evidently Kevin Tracker is blowing a gasket each time when he checked his vacant ledger, and his monetary circumstance is grave to the point that he's supposedly sitting tight for his ex's death to get that $1 million in cover openings in his spending plan. As you might know, the dreadful separation between these two didn't end great, and Kevin accepted that he was essentially looted and deceived by Wendy. And since nobody needed to pay attention to his reality, he chose to act contrastingly. And as Wendy and Kevin's child, Kevin Jr. uncovers his dad might be after disaster protection at the pained television diva had been compelled to hold for him. This was at that point happening unbeknownst to many individuals you know. Just me and my child know truly the thing was occurring. There's no refusal, disavowal. Wendy's emotional power took an instrument on her physical and psychological wellness, and we all were fundamentally seeing the way in which her life was self-destructing in light of her deceptive spouse, and keeping in mind that not an unexpected Wendy's life is presently draping in equilibrium. After all that she had to deal with, there's one individual who is as of now glad to see the previous television have in the state. And this is her ex Kevin Tracker, who can hardly stand by to at last pocket that $1 million life coverage. Well, as you most likely are aware, this man has been faulting Wendy for all his monetary difficulties over the recent years. I believe you should arrive at this gathering, and whatever occurs in this gathering, I believe you should let your mothers know this is her. And clearly he didn't surrender his desires to lay his hands on the cash. Now, since it's uncovered by Kevin Jr. that Wendy is one stage away from losing her valuable life, his father, Kevin Sr., is pausing his breathing and looking over the titles, sitting tight for the report about his ex's downfall to show up, so he can gather the life coverage she's actually holding for him as a piece of their separation repayment, as it was accounted for by the media, notwithstanding provision installments. Williams is likewise being compelled to make a life coverage strategy on herself. So for the situation that she unexpectedly kicks the bucket, and the show needs to stop, Tracker can keep getting compensated very much in view of Wendy's child's assertions and the recordings we've found over the most recent couple of months. It seems like Kevin Sr. has every one of the opportunities to get that some the previous television has been in the horrendous state for the biggest piece of this current year, and she can scarcely stroll without being upheld. Howdy Oak, I will send her club. And it seems like we've all been misjudging the seriousness of Wendy's condition. And until her child, Kevin Jr., at last approached with the subtleties of his mother's panic, individuals didn't focus on the miserable condition of the previous television host's well-being. And presently it's been uncovered that her ex returned to the image with his desires to at long last get Wendy's life coverage. Only a long time prior, Wendy had colossal plans and was even declared a featured expert at the Atlanta Ladies Exhibition on May 20. Anyway, she needed to drop her discourse fundamentally one day before the occasion. And as it was expressed by one insider, Wendy's capacity to perform has been rough. Best case scenario, she can assemble a sentence one day, yet not the following as of late about assuming that she will at any point improve, and assuming that you figure what might have possibly turned into the explanation of Miss Wendy deteriorating and more awful after the finish of this show with her ex Kevin Sr. Very much let me let you know that her ex-mate didn't forsake his desires to siphon off his wiped-out ex, and albeit the court denied his request for the provision installments to be continued, leaving this man essentially broke, he didn't consider venturing ceaselessly, and was trusting that his second will gather as however much her can from Wendy as Kevin Tracker referenced Wendy left him no decision when she left him without installments he had been vigorously depending on. And assuming that she was more consistent with his request, she could not have possibly wound up in such a terrible express no on the grounds, though we might have taken care of this something else altogether. By what it looks, this relational intricacies shows us a seriously upsetting image of poisonous connection between two grown-ups. And keeping in mind that it's difficult to fault Wendy since she has experienced the most in the whole story, clearly her ex doesn't think he is doing anything wrong in light of the fact that, as he would see it, he is simply getting what he has been qualified for starting from the beginning. Many fans are worried that Kevin will not have the option to quit pursuing Wendy until he gets he needs. As one individual remarked, "I truly could do without Kevin Tracker. Kevin treated Wendy so awful. That is the reason she can't recover." And another client added, "She simply has to vanish. Heather won't stop take her cash. And leave the you say if necessary. All victimizers play that she's an insane card. Well, they're behind attempting to gaslight their casualties." Well, it's more than clear from every one of Kevin's meetings that is faulting his ex for all monetary difficulties he is managing at this moment. And albeit such a way of behaving is disgusting overall, Kevin Sr. understands what he's doing a result of this injury and embarrassments just disturb Wendy's well-being, and as you might realize her state have been very delicate even before that muddled separation. And Kevin impeccably had some awareness of it regularly. "I would be in wheelchair. I'm not in a wheelchair. I stand up very much like Wendy has forever been unguarded with her crowd during her syndicated program. She didn't consider concealing anything from people in general, including the subtleties of her frightful separation and her medical conditions." And obviously, Kevin Sr. utilized her well-being battles for his potential benefit, and the entire wreck with court filings and other virtual entertainment show was coordinated by him, with one point just to destroy his ex, totally to that point that she would lose her see any problems. And at last her life, many fans were stunned by the level of Wendy's genuineness, and particularly with regards to her destroying her own picture of a perfect and complex woman, and talking reality with regards to the battles she was managing certain lymphedema. Is this, do you see this here? Look oak. No, look carefully well in the event that Wendy's well-being was so terrible. Even before that show, with Kevin Sr. her concerns just bothered with time, since the second Kevin understood that Wendy wasn't intending to accommodate him any longer. And the court likewise denied his cases for cash. This man committed to make her life living damnation, and he deliberately caused to notice his and Wendy's conjugal issues, wanting to get a public compassion. Wendy herself was once guaranteed that she was tired of Kevin Tracker and his escort Sharina's plots. And it wasn't for them, the entire separation process could never have turned into that tremendously examined in the press. And due to how public those two made it not me, the paparazzi was wherever it feels that Kevin Tracker wasn't intending to end things on a cordial note, with Wendy starting from the start and being deprived of all monetary help. He fundamentally pronounced a conflict on his ex. And what a gigantic boat was for him, since he